All right. So our third lesson is about shapes and dimensioning. So the first thing I'll go over is shapes. So if you look up in your draw panel, you have circle. Now, if you if you click on the arrow down, you'll notice there are multiple circles. We're going to start with radius and diameter. And you'll notice if you look at the circle icon, it's just showing from the center point to the edge. So the number you put in is considered radius for the circle as a whole. So if you want to change that, I'll show you how. So say I do a circle. It's going to want the center point. It's a circle. Makes sense. So I'm going to pick the center point and draw out. If you look on the line next to my cursor, my dynamic input, specific radius of circle. So the units here are large, but don't worry about that. You can change it from radius to diameter. If you look down at your command line, see it says circle, specify radius of circle, right? Or diameter. If you can notice the D is blue, that means you can change it to diameter. And now you can see the diameter, it's asking for the diameter circle. So just keep that in mind because it's a big stumbling block. So I'm going to put in 200. So here's my circle. Easy. If I want to do a rectangle, it's going to ask for my corner point. And now, once I have that corner point, it shows me the two other sides. It's giving me an idea of what it looks like. So say I want the first side to be 250. I'm going to tab over to the other side and put in 500. All right. Now notice it shrunk tight and then went up. So pay attention to which axis the number you're inputting is for. And you can figure that out, okay, by just looking. So if you drew a huge line out like this, obviously your first line is going to be your width. And then your secondary, when I tab over, the secondary over here is the height of this flat rectangle. So just keep that in mind. So here's my rectangle. If you're going to do an ellipse, it's going to do center just like circle. And then it's going to ask for two different points, two different radius. So what I usually do is I usually put it on this ortho mode that we talked about previously, and you're going to do one radius, and then you're going to do the other radius. Now, that can change. So see these little squares on any of them. These are grip points. You can change it. You can change it by a certain amount, or you can change it to a certain diameter. But just beware that it is all flexible. Okay. But the other thing that you'll run into is the snaps can override what you put in if you're too close to it and one is highlighting. If one is highlighting, either turn off your snaps or pull your cursor completely away. It may look odd. Your ellipse will be too big. However, whatever you put in that little bar will stay. So don't worry about that. Polygon. Okay, so polygon is under your rectangle. All right. So it's going to ask how many sides first. So what are you going to do? An octagon, an hexagon? Okay. So let's say 6 sides. And then it's going to want my center. And then it's going to ask, do you want it inscribed within or do you want it circumscribed around? So that's going to change the dimension of your overall polygon. So just keep that in mind. So play with it and see which one does what. What are you looking for it to be? All right. So say I say inscribe within a circle. I'm going to decide on what my circle radius is, and then I will place it. All right. And I typically will have my ortho mode on for those too, because then I don't get it all kind of out of alignment. Once you don't have it on the 90, 0, 45 angle, and it's an awkward angle, it'll take a little bit to get it back. So you guys aren't at that stage yet. So I would just take a step back and I would go ahead and redraw it with the ortho on so that you know you're at a precise angle that can be changed if necessary. So I hope that helps with your shapes.